Good evening. Your patience is commendable.
They say the race largely hinges on these states. First of all, it's way too close as it is. It's a disgrace that we're being put through this. But if Trump wins, that's the fault of the establishment Democrats and Obama and everyone else that cheated Bernie when he was winning the primary. Bernie was forecasted to win the primary, and Obama and others interfered in the primary process, making deals with other candidates to drop out before Super Tuesday, which is unprecedented. Look at this. Bernie was winning, and then they wanted to put an establishment Democrat in there who held positions that most people didn't agree with. Already the establishment Democrats have put us through a lot by having it this close. It shouldn't be this close with such a terrible president like President Trump. But the thing is, all the votes aren't counted yet, and in a lot of states, the mail-in vote is counted after the day of election votes. So I do hope Biden wins because Trump is horrible. And like I said, if Biden wins, I would like him to win by a razor-thin margin. So that might happen.
I don't feel under attack at all. And none of my team feels under attack.
Okay.
And the AP
we love you guys.
confirmed your
It's just we have
Arizona
to
call.
ask the questions. Let me just make clear. You're saying that some states, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, do the in-person on the day counting first and then do the Democrat-leaning mail-in ballot second.
Yes.
But other states, like Florida, dump the mail-in ballot that's already been counted that day first, and then it skews heavily Democratic, and then they count the in-person, so then it catches up on the Republican side.
Precisely.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
And Florida started counting ballots 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. And that's why, in these states that Trump won, early in the night we saw solid Biden leads. But we said that's what is, I guess, the term of art is blue mirage. And we may be seeing a red mirage. We may be seeing a Trump victory in these northern Rust Belt states. We don't know.
We don't know. We do know that in the next 6 hours, we are not going to be able to call this race for presidency of the United States. True?
I think that's true, yes.
That's unfortunate.
Thanks, Vernon.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
We knew this was going to go long, but who knew we're going to go into maybe tomorrow morning, maybe even longer. But look, we feel good about where we are. We really do.
I mean, we have so many. We had such a big night. You just take a look at all of these states that we've won tonight, and then you take a look at the kind of margins that we've won them by. And all of a sudden, it's not like we're up 12 votes and we have 60% left. We won states, and all of a sudden, I said, what happened to the election? It's off. And we have all these announcers saying, what happened? And then they said, oh, because you know what happened? They knew they couldn't win. So they said, let's go to court. And did I predict this, Newt? Did I say this? I've been saying this from the day I heard they were going to send out tens of millions of ballots.
We're listening to the president speaking at the White House, but we got to dip in here because there have been several statements that are just frankly not true. The president going through some of the states, stating that he has prevailed in those states, naming Georgia, saying they're winning Georgia, or that they won Georgia, there's no way they'll catch us, that they're winning Pennsylvania, won Michigan. The fact of the matter is those states have not come close to counting all of their vote. There's still outstanding vote.
Yeah, I mean,
as news events warrant. But just can you explain why it is that it's not possible for anyone to say they've won in this particular state?
Right. So what we have here, first of all, 1.9 million votes have not been counted. Can I repeat? 1.9. That is 3 times the lead that Trump has. OK, so that is way too many votes, number one. And as you can see, most of this is Election Day vote. We know the president had an advantage on Election Day vote, so we have gotten very little of the early and absentee vote. And then you want to throw in one more way of just seeing, let me just remind you of where we are with Philly. Half of Philly has not come in.
Let's go to Michigan. He said Michigan, that he's running up margins in Michigan, and we've won Michigan. So can you show us how much vote is left over in Michigan that hasn't been counted
yet? As you can see, we've only gotten 2/3 of the vote in. This is actually, so there's just 303,000 difference here. Again, 1.8 million votes are left to be counted. Let me repeat, 1.8. Do the math. It's 6 times, okay?
What about Wisconsin?
All right, so that, and as you can see, most of this is still same-day vote. So this is why Michigan, a lot of people are so bullish for the Democrats on Michigan the minute that vote comes. And then Wisconsin, this is where, but it's tight, and it's 116. 81% is in. We're waiting for 700,000 votes. And trust me, with Milwaukee being one of the places, 116 is not enough there. And I'll just go you real quick here. Milwaukee, we still have less than half.
We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it's going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying the votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted.
We lead by 76,000 votes with almost nothing left. And all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay? It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
This is an extremely flammable situation, and the president just threw a match into it. He hasn't won these states. Nobody is saying he's won the states. The states haven't said that he's won. This goes right back to what Joe Biden said, which is the president doesn't get to say that he's won states. The American people get to say it, and the state officials get to declare it. And I guess, and I don't know whether he literally means it, but he said, we will be going to the Supreme Court because we want all the voting to stop. Well, voting to stop, yes, but vote counting? These states by state law all have the opportunity, and states routinely are unable to count votes by election night or early into the morning of the day after the election, and it goes on for days. Now, there may be a question as to how long you can continue to accept ballots, but there's no question that all these states can continue to count votes for days. They don't have to certify for weeks who has won the state. That was what happened in Florida back in 2000. So I don't know if he literally meant that he's going to try to stop the counting of the vote, but I would think that that would be extremely inflammatory, and frankly, I don't think it's something that the courts would allow.
I'm wondering what you make of what we just heard from the president.
I was very distressed by what I heard the president say. The president is prone, as we all know, to bluster and to fits of pique of being upset about how he's being treated. But look, I don't have any problem. I think Joe Biden said similar things, saying, I think I won. I mean, that's fine. You think you won. That's great. But the idea of saying that using the word fraud, that there's fraud being committed by people counting votes, I think is wrong. I understand he sees votes potentially being shifted around in some places. But look, the reality is that what's happening. I can tell you in Pennsylvania, what's happening is they're counting the absentee and mail-in ballots right now, and some counties have stopped counting. Why have they stopped counting? Because it's 2:48 in the morning. That's why they stopped counting. Because people get tired. When they're tired, they make mistakes, and you stop counting, and then you take it up the next morning when people are fresh, and everybody has a chance to sort of make sure they're not making any mistakes. They're not stopping counting because they're trying to fix anything or create any sort of fraud. There's plenty of people there, as poll watchers and others who are watching the counting. I know in the city of Philadelphia, for example, I think there's actually cameras on the people who are actually doing the counting. So look, I understand the president's frustration because some of the states weren't called as early as he'd like. But at the same time, he complained about one of the states being called earlier, like Arizona. So I understand the president feels like it's a grievance against him, and somehow or another this is another example of the media not treating him fairly. I would just say I could not disagree more in this case.